I want to ask you a question that nobody asks out loud. Not your boss, not your school, not the bank that gave you the mortgage. The question is this: how much is an hour of your life worth? Not what your employer pays you for an hour. I mean what you actually believe deep down, in the silence of 3 in the morning when you cannot sleep, that an hour of your existence on this earth is worth. Because here is the problem. Most people have never done that math. And because they have never done it, they are making the most expensive trade in human history every single day without realizing it. They are trading the one thing they can never get back for the one thing they can always earn more of. They are trading time for money. And they are doing it at a catastrophically bad exchange rate. I've been thinking about time since I was a young man. Not in the way most people think about it. Not as a motivational poster on the wall. I mean as a balance sheet. I mean as an asset class. I mean as the only currency that has a fixed supply, cannot be printed, cannot be borrowed, cannot be stolen back, and is guaranteed to run out. When I was building Berkshire, Charlie Munger and I used to ask ourselves one question before any meeting, any deal, any phone call. Is this the best use of the next 60 minutes of our lives? Not the best use of our money, the best use of our time, because we understood something that most people never learn. Time and money are not equal. Money is renewable. Time is not. You can lose $1 billion and make it back. You cannot lose a year and make it back. You cannot lose a Tuesday and find it again on Thursday. And yet the entire financial system is designed to make you forget this. Banks sell you 30-year mortgages and show you the monthly payment, not the total years of labor that payment represents. Employers quote your annual salary and never translate it into days of your life. Advertisers sell you things with the phrase just $99 a month and never calculate how many hours you had to surrender to pay for it. This is not an accident, it is architecture. It is a system built to keep you moving forward without ever asking where you are going. In this video, I want to show you the clock they do not want you to see. I want to show you the hidden ledger, the second set of books that runs behind every financial decision you make, the one that counts not in dollars and cents, but in hours and days and years of your one and only life. There are 5 chapters, 5 leaks in the ledger, 5 places where your time is being drained quietly, invisibly, and with your full permission. If you can see them, you can close them. If you can close them, you can do something that very few people ever manage to do. You can become genuinely rich. Not paper rich, not temporarily flush. I mean the kind of rich where you wake up in the morning and every hour of the day belongs to you. Let us begin. Let me give you a number. The average American worker earns roughly $30 an hour before taxes. Now let me give you the real number. When you factor in the time you spend getting ready for work, the commute there and back, the decompression time after work when you are too exhausted to do anything productive, the mental overhead of the job that leaks into your evenings and weekends, the time you spend recovering from a job that drains you physically or emotionally, the actual number is closer to $10 or $12 an hour of real life traded. And that is before taxes take roughly 30%. So the true rate, after all costs in time and money, is somewhere around $7 to $9 an hour of existence. This is what I call the hourly rate illusion. The number on your pay stub is not the price you paid. The price you paid is higher, far higher. And it is measured in something more valuable than money. Now I want you to do something uncomfortable. I want you to price your own time. Take your annual income, divide it not by 2,000 working hours, divide it by the total hours your job actually costs you, the prep time, the travel, the recovery, the Sunday night dread. For most people, that number is closer to 3,000 or 3,500 hours a year. That is your real hourly rate. And now I want you to look at your last 3 purchases and ask, how many hours of my life did I trade for this? The $200 television upgrade? That was 25 hours of your life. 2.5 days. Do you feel 25 hours of joy every time you turn it on? The car upgrade that costs $300 a month? That is 1,200 hours of your life over 3 years, 50 full days. Does the nicer car feel like 50 days of your one life? Most people have never run this calculation. And that is exactly the point. The system does not want you to run it, because if you ran it, you would buy almost nothing. The first step to reclaiming your time is to see it clearly as a currency. Every dollar you spend is not just a dollar, it is a portion of a day of your life. When you internalize that, your relationship with money changes permanently. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" You start asking, "Is this worth the hours?" Those are very different questions, and only one of them leads to freedom. Now you might be thinking the answer is to earn more per hour. Work your way up, get the promotion, increase your rate, and you are partially right. But there is a trap hidden inside the promotion, and almost nobody sees it until it has already closed around them. I call this the promotion trap. Here is how it works. You get a promotion. Your salary goes from $50,000 to $75,000. You're earning 50% more money. This feels like freedom approaching, but then something happens. Your lifestyle inflates. You move to a nicer apartment to match your new status. You buy a better car because you are now someone who earns $75,000. You start eating at slightly nicer restaurants, taking slightly more expensive vacations, wearing clothes that project the image of the role. Your expenses rise from $40,000 a year to $65,000 a year. You are now earning more and saving almost exactly the same amount, sometimes less because your taxes went up too. Meanwhile, your hours at work increased. The promotion came with more responsibility, more visibility, more emails at 11 o'clock at night, more being available on weekends. Your real hourly rate may have barely moved. And now, here is the subtle poison of the trap. Your lifestyle has expanded, which means you now need this salary. You cannot go back. The new apartment has a lease. The car has a loan. The identity you built around the income has expectations. You are now more imprisoned than before. You have more money and less freedom because your expenses grew faster than your savings and your time cost grew with your title. This is the promotion trap. More income does not equal more freedom. More income minus proportionally more spending plus more time cost can equal less freedom. The wealthy do not avoid promotions, but they apply a rule before accepting any of them. The rule is this: will this opportunity increase my income faster than it increases my time cost and my mandatory expenses? If yes, take it. If no, it is not a promotion. It is a more expensive cage. The way out of this trap requires something that feels counterintuitive. It requires that when your income rises, your lifestyle does not rise with it. You must create a gap between what you earn and what you spend. You must protect that gap with discipline. And you must deploy everything inside that gap into assets that buy back your time. This is how wealth is built, not by earning more, by keeping more of what you earn and turning it into a force that works while you sleep. There is a disease that is more widespread than any virus on the planet. It has no name in the medical journals, but I have watched it kill more dreams than poverty, more quietly than bankruptcy, more permanently than any financial crisis. I call it the delayed life syndrome. You know the symptoms. You have heard the sentences. Once I pay off the student loans, I will start investing. Once the kids are older, I will pursue the business idea. Once I get through this busy period at work, I will start taking care of my health. Once I retire, I will have time to do what I love. And then the student loans take 12 years, and the kids grow up, and the busy period at work never ends. And retirement comes at 67 with a broken body and a bank account that is not quite what you planned, and you realize that the life you were waiting to start never started because you were always one condition away from beginning. This is the delayed life syndrome, the belief that real living is located somewhere in the future, behind a door that requires a key you do not quite have yet. I want to tell you something I learned at a very young age. Something I saw confirmed 1,000 times in the lives of the people around me. The future is not a place you arrive at. The future is the sum of the present moments you chose to invest. Every single day you are building tomorrow. If you are building tomorrow the same way you built yesterday, your future will look almost identical to your present. With slightly more debt and slightly less energy, the compound interest of a fully lived day does not pay dividends in 30 years. It pays them incrementally in the direction your life is heading. The person who waits to start investing at 45 does not just lose 30 years of compound growth on their money. They lose 30 years of compound growth on their confidence, their skills, their relationships, their identity as someone who builds and creates rather than someone who waits and reacts. The cure for the delayed life syndrome is not urgency in the frantic sense. It is not about doing everything at once and burning yourself out. It is about removing the conditions. Stop saying when. Start saying now, even imperfectly. Start the savings account today with $20. Start the business today with one customer. Start the health today with a 10-minute walk. The size of the start does not matter. The direction of the start is everything. Because here is the hidden truth about time that almost nobody understands. It is not linear, it is exponential. The compounding effect of small, correct decisions made consistently over time is the most powerful force in the human universe. I have staked my entire career on this belief, and I have watched it prove itself every decade for 90 years. The person who starts small and starts now will almost always outpace the person who waits to start big. Almost always, without exception. Do not delay your life any longer. The moment you are waiting for is this one. Now I want to talk about the one I see everywhere, the one that masquerades as a virtue so convincingly that society hands it awards and writes about it in admiring tones in business magazines. I call this the false economy of busyness. There is a pervasive belief in modern culture that busyness is the same as productivity. That being fully scheduled, fully occupied, always in motion, is the same as moving forward. It is not. I once knew a man who worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 20 years. He was never idle. He was always hustling, always on the phone, always at the office. He felt, I believe, genuinely virtuous about this. He felt he was doing what you were supposed to do. After 20 years of this, he had a moderate income, declining health, 2 failed marriages, and a relationship with his children that was essentially a series of apologies. He was busy, but he was not building anything. He was spending his energy without investing it. There is a difference, a critical difference. Spending your energy means you work hard today and tomorrow you start at zero again. Investing your energy means you work on something today that compounds, that builds, that creates a return that does not require you to repeat the same effort again tomorrow. Most busy people are spenders. They are running at full speed on a treadmill. The treadmill is impressive, the speed is real, but the location never changes. This is what Charlie Munger calls activity without traction, and it is the most common form of wasted time I have observed in 50 years of watching people work. So how do you know if you are busy or building? Ask yourself this question every Friday evening. What did I do this week that will still be working for me in 5 years? Not the emails you answered, not the meetings you attended, not the tasks you completed that were on someone else's list. What did you do this week that is compounding? If the answer is nothing, you were not productive. You were busy. And busy is expensive. Busy costs you the most valuable resource you have. The cure is what I call radical subtraction. Most people, when they want to get more done, add things to their schedule. They add habits, routines, commitments, obligations. I believe the opposite. I believe that every great result in a person's life came from doing fewer things with deeper concentration. The way to buy back your time is not to optimize a packed schedule. It is to empty the schedule, to be ruthlessly protective of what gets access to your hours, to say no so often that saying yes becomes an event. I have turned down thousands of deals, thousands of meetings. thousands of opportunities that looked exciting in the moment. People sometimes find this puzzling. How can the world's greatest investors say no to so many opportunities? The answer is that the no is the strategy. Every no to a distraction is a yes to the one thing that compounds. And it is the compounding that builds the life. Your task is to find your one compounding thing, the skill, the business, the investment, the relationship that will be worth exponentially more in 5 years than it is today. And then protect it with the ferocity of someone who understands that their time is the only truly non-renewable resource they possess. Everything else goes on the too hard pile. Everything else is negotiable. We have talked about the hourly right illusion. We have talked about the promotion trap. We have talked about the delayed life syndrome and the false economy of busyness. Now I want to talk about the final chapter, the one that changes the calculation entirely. I call this the legacy clock. Here's a question I want you to sit with for a moment. Imagine you were sitting in a rocking chair at 85 years old. Your body is slower now. Your days are quieter, and you are looking back at the life you built. Not at the money, not at the titles, not at the house or the car. What do you see? Do you see a life you chose, or a life that happened to you? Do you see time spent building something that mattered, or time spent reacting, surviving, waiting? This is what I call the rocking chair test, and I have been applying it to every major decision of my life since I was in my 20s. Before I commit to anything significant, I ask, will the 85-year-old version of me be glad I did this? It clears the noise remarkably quickly. But there is a second dimension to the legacy clock that most people never consider. Your time is not only yours. The way you spend your hours teaches your children how to spend theirs. The choices you make about work, about money, about leisure, about ambition are being observed. They are being downloaded into the next generation, whether you intend it or not. If your children watch you spend 40 years trading time for money in a job you tolerate, they will believe that is what adults do. If they watch you spend 40 years building something with intention, protecting your hours, investing your energy, living with financial dignity, they will believe that is what adults do. The legacy is not the inheritance. The legacy is the demonstration. The richest thing I can pass on is not the portfolio. It is the operating system, the set of beliefs about time and money and freedom that makes wealth not just possible, but inevitable for anyone who holds them long enough. So let me tell you the operating system as simply as I can. Time is your primary currency. Spend it accordingly. Every financial decision is a time decision. Calculate both costs. Your income must grow faster than your lifestyle, or you will always feel poor, regardless of what you earn. Start before you are ready. The cost of waiting is almost always higher than the cost of beginning imperfectly. Be ruthlessly unbusy. Protect the hours that compound. Eliminate everything that merely consumes. And ask yourself, at every major crossroads, what will the 85-year-old version of me wish I had chosen? That is the whole system. It is not complicated. It has never been complicated. The difficulty is not in understanding it. The difficulty is in believing, deeply and permanently, that your time is actually worth protecting, that you are not obligated to trade it cheaply, that there is another way. There is another way. I have lived it. Charlie lived it. And thousands of people with far fewer advantages than either of us have lived it too, simply by making different choices about what to do with the hours that belong to them. The clock is running. It has always been running. The only question is whether you are spending what it counts or investing it. I know which one builds the life you want. I believe if you are honest with yourself, you know too. The question is, what are you going to do about it tonight? Let me leave you with this. There is a moment, rare in a life but unmistakable when it arrives, when you suddenly understand that the years are not unlimited, that the Tuesday afternoons are not unlimited. Home. that the energy you have right now, this particular quality of aliveness you feel in this moment, will not always be here. Most people have this moment at a funeral, or after a health scare, or on a milestone birthday when they look at the number and feel for the first time that it is larger than they expected. I want you to have it now. I want you to have it while there is still time to act on it, while the rocking chair is still in the future. Because the greatest financial decision of your life is not which stock to buy or which house to purchase or which job to take. The greatest financial decision of your life is what to do with the next hour. Invest it well. Write in the comments below your real hourly rate, not what your employer pays you. The real one, calculated the way we discussed. Time spent getting to work, recovering from work, preparing for work. Write the number. And then write one decision you are going to make tonight, one specific change you will commit to that begins to close the gap between the hours you are spending and the hours you are investing. I read these comments, and I will tell you what I have told everyone who has ever shown me that number with honesty and courage. That number is not a verdict. That number is a starting point. The only number that matters is the one you choose next.